Welcome back to another edition of the Knight Report podcast. I'm your host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me once again is my co-host, Richie O'Leary. Got to tease this one yesterday. Rutgers now has its fourth commitment of the week with Jaylene Matthews, the offensive tackle out of Toms River North High School in Toms River, New Jersey, committed today at a pretty awesome commitment announcement. We'll get into that. It's one of the more unique ones I've ever seen. I'm sure it'll kind of at least go viral amongst the recruiting community. But we'll get into all that and more. But first, this podcast is presented to you by Night and Day Apparel. Beat the heat this summer with our hot, one-of-a-kind products. With temperatures rising, there's no better time to refresh your wardrobe with cool and stylish summer essentials. Say that 3 times fast. Whether you're planning a beach getaway, a picnic in the park, or simply lounging in the yard, we've got you covered. Visit our website today to explore a full range of summer essentials from pool floats and spatulas to bathing suits and tank tops. Use our promo code Rutgers Rivals, no spaces, Rutgers Rivals, to get 10% off your purchase. Shop now and keep chopping. Okay, so Jaylene Matthews, we've talked about him a few times recently on this pod. He narrowed his finalists down to Miami, Tennessee, and Georgia, and eliminated Rutgers, quote unquote. You had been hearing that might have been a smokescreen. Turns out to have been correct. He was previously committed to Penn State for a while. He is still a 4-star. He's ranked currently 13th in the state. He came onto the scene, though, as a top 100 recruit. I think the highest rating he had was somewhere around 50 overall in the country, and he's seen that slide a bit. So just tell us a little bit about Jaylene's commitment ceremony, and then we can get into him as a player.
Yeah, so, shout out to the couple Rutgers guys I was talking to. That one's for you, Bori. But there was a couple Rutgers guys there. Heard some talk as soon as I walked in. They're like, yeah, Todd Frazier's here. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Toms River, 4-star, probably going to end up at Rutgers, as we hinted at on our boards. What was it, like Sunday, I think? It kind of just made sense. And then someone else was like, oh, Frank Yeager's here too. And I was like, oh, I don't see him. Where the hell are they at? Whatever. I guess they're here just there's like maybe 100 people, probably a little more there, between students, family, friends, etc. So I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Toms River guy too. Makes sense. And then I'm like, I start filming, and I'm like, I forgot they were even here. And then all of a sudden, he's like, hey, wait, before you commit. And it's like, I turn around, I'm like, oh shit, record, so everyone could see. They just walked in with a pizza, and they're like, hold on, we got a pizza for you. And then like Jaylene's like, kind of like, a pizza? Like what? Like they walk up, they show the pizza. It's like block R and pepperonis, and it was pretty cool. A little different. He was going to grab the Tennessee hat. I don't know if that means anything, just saying. But he put that down real quick, and it was all Rutgers all the way. Like you said before, we posted it on Sunday, and that was it was kind of just locked in since then. But it was kind of locked in a little bit before that too, because he took that official visit to campus and then canceled the rest. So pretty good get for Rutgers, 4-star kid, Toms River, New Jersey native. So always nice to get a New Jersey kid. And I know you said 13th in the state, and that just goes to show you. We've said it time and time again. This year's recruiting class for New Jersey is the deepest it's been since I've been covering, and I'd argue probably the deepest since like the early 2000s.
So let's talk a little bit about what makes him such an intriguing prospect. Obviously, he's huge. He's listed at 6'7", 337 pounds. But he has seen his rating drop a little bit. So tell us a little bit about what is so enticing about him as a prospect.
The size is huge. Like you said, 6'7", 330-ish, 340-ish maybe right now. You can mold that into anything. You really can't teach that size. He's got some impressive pass blocking tape on his highlight tape, if you check it out. He looks pretty good physically. He was getting better physically every year, and that tailed off a little bit this past year, and that's why you saw a little dip in the rankings. But still, mind you, still a 4-star kid. Plays both sides of the ball. Very mean, very aggressive in the trenches, whether it's at offensive tackle or he's played some offensive guard. Obviously, he won't be a guard at this level, but at the next level. But also plays defensive tackle, and actually has some nice tape attacking the quarterback as well. Just a very, very good prospect. I think there's a lot of long-term potential more than anything else. And that's kind of always been the case with linemen. As a junior last year, he had like 80 tackles from defensive tackle spot. Now,
wow.
I think he needs to bend a little bit better. And that's You could say that for just about any tackle or any lineman for that matter. Needs to work on that. Needs to work on his technique a little more, and his hand placement is good at times, but it's also bad at times. I think all that stuff is very teachable stuff, which is why you kind of have him going to Rutgers, and that's where Pat Flaherty's going to come in. That's where, like, it's not just him too. When we always say the offensive line room has made leaps and bounds, it's not just Pat Flaherty. Don't get me wrong, 40-year NFL coaching veteran, 2 Super Bowls. But they also have Joe Susan, who's been doing it forever. They have PJ Barr, who's an up-and-comer that's been doing it. Scott Vallone was helping out with that offensive line room before being promoted to tight ends coach. So there's just a lot of different minds that are kind of helping to build and develop these linemen, and I think this could be the next one.
Yeah, and you talked about all the things that can be coached, but he has a lot of what can't be coached. When you talk about the size, you talk about the agility, that kind of mean streak on the field. Like, you can't really teach somebody to, it's like teaching, they say, like, they can't teach a dog to bite. Yeah, you just can't really teach that kind of attitude on the field. And this staff has shown time and time again that they transform kids when they get them on campus. Like, you look at a guy like Holland Pierce, he came in at 450 pounds to campus.
Yep.
In the first year, they cut him down to like 325. Like, Jaylene Matthews, once he gets on campus, once they get him in the nutrition program, the strength and conditioning program, once basically his life becomes 100% football, I think you're going to see this kid transform in the first year for sure.
I mean, like you said before, he was a top 50 prospect at one point. There's a reason behind that. He has the potential, and it's more long-term now than anything else. But as long as he puts it together and this coaching staff can kind of mold him the way they see, they can kind of see him fit into this offense, I think he could be a really good prospect down the line.
Yeah, it's a big, exciting commitment. The highest rated kid in the class of 2025, which I don't have the current ranking, but the last time I checked, I think they were in 7th in the rankings.
Probably
might be higher now.
I had to guess. Yeah, I mean 4-star. You would think it jumps. No, it's
Yep.
still 7 because some other teams got commitments as well. I think Oklahoma leaped them technically, which you still see Rutgers above that Alabama logo, which is always kind of cool to see. But LSU, Texas A&M, Georgia.
Yep.
So,
and while Rutgers is ranked very highly right now, you're going to see that drop just mainly because other schools are going to start to fill up. Like, the way Rivals does its class rankings is it takes I think it takes the top 20 ranked recruits in a class, right? And it bases its ranking off that. So if you have 20 kids and somebody has 10, and you're most likely going to have a higher rated class regardless of if the school with 10 has nothing but 4 stars and you have nothing but 3 stars. That's not to say anything negative about this class. It's an excellent class they're putting together, but just to kind of go a little under the hood as to how Rivals does its class rankings.
Yep.
Is there anything else about Jaylene that you wanted to hit on, be as him as a player, the commitment, the recruitment in general?
I mean, the recruitment took some twists and turns. One of the more roller coaster like recruitments. It's been up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. But we thought at one point he was going to go to Georgia. We thought at one point he was going to go to Tennessee. We thought at one point he was going to go to Miami, and now he's at Rutgers. So it's definitely far from over. It's this high school recruiting we're talking about. It's always been this way, but you have to get these kids signed, and until they're signed, it's still to be determined if he will 100% end up at Rutgers. I know it's not trying to sound like a Debbie Downer here. He's committed for right now, and that's a good start. But you're going to have to stay on him until December, the signing period. And I mean, we've seen Rutgers do pretty well with guys that are committed. So especially since Shiano's returned. I mean, I should say only when Shiano's been on the banks, because other than that, they've struggled to keep those guys committed. But.
Yeah, no, they've done a really, really good job keeping guys committed. I can only think of a handful of guys that have decommitted at points, and one of them being Davidson Igbenuson is the only one that really comes to mind. But they've done a great job of staying on kids and making sure they're committed for the right reasons. So I'm pretty confident we'll keep them. But I guess you could say that about any recruitment. It's like you gotta keep on them.
Yep. Luckily, it's not too far away. It's about 50 minutes, maybe actually less. It's 50 minutes from me, so it's probably less than that to get to New Brunswick. But from Tom's River to New Brunswick, it's local, and they've done well with, as you saw, with Todd Frazier, Frankie Egger, other sports. It just could be a good get when it's all said and done.
Absolutely. So let's talk the state of the rest of the class. They're at 22 commitments. Where do you see them filling the final holes in this class? Name some of the top targets to keep an eye out for, because they don't have many scholarships left.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go position by position. John Forrester's their top target at running back. They canceled Kayvon Mason's official visit last week. He was supposed to come to campus for the June 7th visit. Didn't end up ended up getting canceled because they feel that good about Forrester, I'm told. Forrester now, mind you, visited Illinois this past weekend. Art Sikowski is his lead recruiter there. I've said it a couple times already. He's actually developing into a very damn good recruiter out there in Illinois. He's actually the main recruiter for Michael Thomas as well. But John Forrester, for now, number one running back target. No one else is really on that board. There's back burner guys, but they're not really going to focus on those unless Forrester goes elsewhere. Wide receiver is where it gets a little bit interesting. You have Vernon Allen, DeGraffin Wright, and Jordan Houston, 1, 2, 3. You probably could sneak a fourth depending on who it is. I know we had a future cast in for Jawyl Hall, but it sounds like they're not going to take him. It's more so they probably could land him right now if they wanted to, but they're not going to take him. It sounds like Maryland's going to take him, actually. So look at that, Maryland picking up Rutgers scraps. Who would have thought?
Well, if you would have seen the reaction from Maryland fans from the commitments this past weekend of Tariq Hare and of Joshua Blackston, they were pissed because that was their top DB target and their top offensive line target that were remaining on the board. Yeah. So Rutgers went in, just kind of went in their backyard, took a dump in their yard, and and then went back up north.
Didn't pick it up.
Didn't pick it up. Yep.
Hate those people. Keanu Johnson was a top target too at wide receiver. Canceled his visit. So it's really Michael Thomas or bust. I know that Rutgers is not slow playing him, but they're being very cautious. They don't want to annoy him. They don't want to over recruit. That is a thing in today's world because some of these kids just get burnt out with recruiting. They don't want.
Yeah.
I don't even want my phone blowing up the way it has. And we were talking to Alec before, and Alec's like, dude, I don't know how you do this. Like my phone is going nuts, but. And that's just a small sample size of what these kids have to deal with. But anyway, tight end, they're definitely going to take one. It's going to be Trent Euler or Tyler Kielmeyer. Trent Euler was on campus May 31st. Kielmeyer will be on campus June 21st. The fact that Euler really hasn't committed yet kind of tells me they're going to try to go for Kielmeyer. Just probably go all out for him. Now they're also going to host a couple other. I think they have a couple other official visits this weekend. And offensive linemen, I'd be shocked if those don't get canceled because
now that they're up to 7 possibly.
Yeah, Jaden Elijah canceled. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Jaden Elijah committed tackle. And the key win, I think, stays at tackle. Could also play guard. Chris Vigna, I think, goes to guard. Could also play tackle. Jaylene Matthews tackle. Jarrett Gordon guard. Josh Blackston guard. So it's like Miriam Gurman could be an offensive tackle. So I would just say at this point, it'd be insane to take another lineman, but who knows? Defensive end is where it gets a little tricky because, like I said, Gurman, technically a defensive end, could play offensive tackle. Braden Bruin's definitely an edge rusher. Chase Linton, definitely a defensive end. Robbie Johnson, same thing. Now they're doing very well with Tayshawn Alston out of North Carolina. He's listed as an outside linebacker, but they're kind of telling him it's more of like a Mike / they call it the R position, that edge rusher, which is basically Muhammad Touré's position currently. So they're doing really well with him. Whether you want to slot him at edge or linebacker, that's up to you. Who else are we looking at? Defensive tackle, they already have 2 in Giant Simon and Braxton Kyle. They have Elijah Crawford coming to campus this weekend. I'd keep a close eye on him. The other names they hosted were Bryce Jenkins and Maxwell Roy the first weekend. Maxwell Roy, actually, his recruitment has changed. He's now leaning from Ohio State to now leaning towards Michigan. Not that it matters, really, but tidbit. Bryce Jenkins is going to go wherever the money is going. So probably South Carolina. He was out last weekend. I know they're the favorite now. We'll see. Where else am I looking at? Linebacker. It really depends who you slot there. Kamar Archie will be here this weekend. DJ McClary will be at Penn State this weekend, and he will make a decision following that visit. That's a big one to watch because I really think they have a legitimate shot there. It could go either way, 50-50. Kamar Archie's probably leaning elsewhere, but Rutgers gets him on campus, and who knows? You never know. He's been to campus also 100,000 times, so there's that. Cornerback, they'll have Caleb Singleton from Florida up this weekend. I think they have a good shot there. Charles Bell seems like he's a little bit on the back burner now, from what I was told. So it's a little interesting tidbit. I know he was supposed to go to NC State this weekend, but they canceled on him, actually. So kind of shows a little bit where his recruiting might be heading. Tariq Hare at safety, and that's really it. So that's actually a lot more than you think for a class that's already had, 21 kids?
21 or 22 now.
I think it might be 22. 22. Yeah, so they're far from done actually.
Yeah. Will be interesting. Shiano is one of the best in the business in terms of making all the scholarship math work. So,
Dude's a mathematician.
yeah, don't get caught up in the, well, how do we have room for all these kids? Shiano figured out. There's certain things that like I just inherently trust with Shiano. That's DB recruitment. That's making that last scholarship fit. That's
Yeah,
if he wants to take a guy regardless, he's probably, he talks about this openly. He wants guys who fit into the program well and are culture fits, and anybody he takes, he's deemed a culture fit. Therefore, I can't really question it. There's been some talk about certain guys, and if Shiano wants to take him, I'm 100% all in.
yeah,
But
gotta trust him.
this is, yeah, for sure. It's been a really awesome class that we've seen put together in front of our eyes, and it's looking like it's almost fully wrapped up. Which will give them the entire offseason to just dive into the transfer portal for plugging holes in the offseason.
Yep.
So that is all I got. There was one other basketball-related news item that I'm not too excited about. There has been a potential leak of the black uniforms for the basketball team, and I could not be more against this design. Given that like Rutgers has had so many awesome designs over the years, so many awesome throwbacks. Like this is just total dog water. I can't believe that they might actually put these uniforms on our players this year. But that's just me.
Before anyone like says like we made this jersey because there's a little like TKR logo right here, I just did that so no one I didn't want to spread a watermark all the way across it. So I was like, I'm just gonna throw it somewhere where most people that steal the content from us and post it on other social media apps are gonna be like, oh, hey, that's you didn't know we didn't steal yours, we saw it too. And it's like, no, I see the logo right there. Besides the point, it happens way too often. It's driving me nuts. Now, here's what I'm thinking. This was found by Tom Gilbert on Discord, on the Rutgers Discord. So shout out to him for finding it first. They're selling these on eBay. Usually this stuff starts to leak out, whether it be eBay, DHgate, any of these jersey websites from overseas. Now, the thing that the biggest tidbit about this is people are like, I've seen that jersey before. Like they wore them previously. I'm like, number one, no, they didn't. Number two, like if you realize Rutgers last year, Rutgers football switched their uniforms a tiny bit last year to reflect the new Adidas logo, which would be just the 3 stripes. It's not like it used to say Adidas underneath. Now, Rutgers basketball didn't switch their uniforms to the logo for this past season. I don't know if it was just a matter of they couldn't get them in time or whatever it is. That's why I'm tending to believe that this might be real. And if you compare it to the old the Nighthead one that they had, it's not the worst, but it's very similar.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I'm indifferent on it. Like it is what it is. You can't control all of them. Let's see if I can share this tab. It's very similar. It just says, I guess they have the little like chainmail on the side instead, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's not the worst in the world either. Like I've seen worse jerseys personally.
I have too. I just think like the A team at Adidas should be on this, and that is not an A team level jersey in my opinion. But maybe it's just a fake. But that's something that I wanted to just bring up.
Too. Yeah. Now that being said, we were told that they were going to get the I can't think of the name of them now.
Yes, those designer jerseys.
Yeah, it's like a designer Adidas jersey. I can't think of the name of it. Alternate. Let's look up alternate. Because Indiana had it last year. It was an alternate jersey for Indiana.
It's the Fear of God.
Yes. Yep. Now, mind you, some of those are fucking ugly too. But
yeah. But at least those at least look more like a true alternate. Like that is definitely a statement. Whereas these are just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, I found it actually. I'll pop this one up real quick. And it wouldn't shock me if this is almost exactly the same design Rutgers will be getting. But it's like it's nothing crazy. Like it's decent. It's cool because that's what kids want. Like they want these new improved uniforms or whatever. I don't have to show a picture. Yeah,
Whoa.
it's sorry.
That's all right.
I always forget to turn the volume. But yeah, it's okay. That's what Rutgers is more than likely going to get, something like this. And it's Adidas, like, I don't even know what they call it. It's like the Nike Elite, or maybe it used to be Nike Vapor Elite or something like that.
Yeah, yep.
So this is like their version of it. It's called the Adidas Fear of God. Miami got it last year. Indiana got it. And they all look essentially the same. It's just slightly different colors.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll wait and see what it looks like. But it sounds like Rutgers is probably going to get those.
Yep, which will be cool. That'll get attention to the program.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's all I got. Richie, anything else before we head out of here?
I think that's really it. Nothing else. They should be done for now until the weekend, I think. Who knows? Because Greg Schiano and them are on a roll. That's 13 in 2 weeks. That's a crazy commitment timeline. I'm kind of glad that I don't have to make any other edits or articles or anything because I'm just like I'm over it.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's it is a lot, but thanks everybody once again for tuning in. You never know when this news is going to pop, so stay tuned to the boards. You'll see it there first all the time. If you haven't signed up already, Richie, I think you have a pretty awesome promo going on right now, don't you?
Just ran out actually, but if you
wow.
if you DM me on the side, maybe I can make something work for you. At Rivals Richie, and we'll figure something.
Yep, that's always the first place to go because that information will go there immediately, and these podcasts get recorded after that. So if you want to support the show, that's the easiest way to do it. The second easiest way is to like, subscribe, tell a friend, give a rating or review on your favorite podcasting app. 5 stars only. Keep the other stuff to yourselves.
Yeah.
But that's all we got.
There's one other way you can support us. You can support us by getting some Rutgers gear from Night and Day Apparel. I know we always say at the beginning of the show, but say it at the end too. I think that might help a little bit. I don't know. Use a promo code Rutgers Rivals, 10% off. They got all kinds of crazy stuff on there. You could even buy a Night Report shirt if you really want. Maybe we should get a Night Report t-shirt, Night Report podcast t-shirt.
That'd be cool.
We'll get like a caricature of like us two on that'd be funny. I don't know how many people would buy it, but
yeah, I don't either. I think Rutgers Hoops Insider made some kind of like caricature shirt, and then you took it down. But
yeah, I wasn't a fan of that one. It's just let's let that one die there.
Yeah. But all right, we've been rambling enough. Thanks again for listening. This has been another edition of the Night Report podcast. Signing off.